you, Emily. That was a wonderful way to begin our worship this morning. Thank you for that song. And good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
No matter who you are or where you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. We are a welcoming church that lives by faith, is known by love, and is a voice of hope to the world. Please take a moment and sign your friendship register and leave it in the pew. A couple other announcements. We have sign-up forms for if you'd like to purchase an Easter lily. You can buy or purchase them through Becky, $12 a piece. And also let us know whether you want to take them with you at the end of Easter service to share with someone else, or if you would like us to dispose of them. And by disposing of them, we try to give them away to shut-ins and people who could really benefit from them. It's not like they're going to get tossed or anything like that. Heck, we kept our poinsettias until I think actually
There's one left.
we have one more poinsettia. So our poinsettia, yeah, we don't trash stuff here. Okay, even poinsettias. Becky's done a good job of keeping that baby alive for a long time. Want to thank the people, Barbara Rhodes, who has given the altar flowers. They're given in honor of her children, Debbie and John, and their families. And I know that she would love us to thank them and also keep them in our prayers. And then there was also an announcement about birthday wishes for Bill Holzinger. He is having his birthday on the 16th of March. He has ALS, and his wife said that he would love to receive cards from us. His contact information is in the bulletin. And just also a quick reminder that if you do not turn your clocks ahead next week and you show up for church, we will be saying the benediction and goodbye. The clocks turn forward, we jump ahead or spring ahead. It's everybody's favorite time of the year when it takes us about a week to get used to the time zone. So please don't forget to turn your clocks ahead. And if you forget that for COLA class, you're welcome to come. Well, just come in your pajamas, like right after you roll out of bed, and we'll be happy to have you here for that. So, are there any other announcements? Yeah, Patty.
Just thank everyone for donations of food and this help to serve for the Lenten luncheon. It was a wonderful service and lunch. Thank you.
Yeah, it really was amazing. I think we had, did you count like 60 people or 50 some people that came through? It was quite a few for the first Lenten service. And they're wonderful services. They're at the United Methodist Church. They start just after the noon whistle on Tuesday. And the service comes first and lunch is served. And please come. It's just a delightful way to invest an hour of your time in taking care of your soul and worshiping with other people in the community. So now, with no other announcements, I ask that you would stand as we stand for our call to worship, as you are able. What is it like to begin again?
It is like flowers in the spring that push through frozen ground. It is like a baby's learning to walk, one clumsy step at a time. It is like Nicodemus in the night, asking Jesus for guidance. It is like Sunday morning, starting our week anew.
May we find God in our seeking.
May we learn as we go.
May we be brave enough to begin again.
Let us worship God in new beginnings.
Please remain standing as we sing our opening hymn, number 84, O God, our help in ages past. We are going to sing verses 1, 3, 5, and 6. So all the old numbers and then the last verse.
Thank you.
is that it gives us an opportunity to begin anew. In a prayer of confession, we simply lay our cards on the table. We speak honestly with God about who we are and who we long to be. And in response, God wraps us in grace and lets us begin again. And so together, with God's grace, let us wipe the slate together clean. With God's grace, let us pray the prayer of confession. Let us pray together.
God of new life, you call us into unknown places, and we bury our heads in the sand. You promise us stars in the sky, and we doubt it can be true.
You speak of new life in the Spirit, and we doubt ourselves within our churches.
Over and over and over again, you invite us closer to you. Show us the way. Forgive our mistakes. Give us the courage to begin again with you.
Amen. Family of faith, hear the good news. There is grace in God's love that is far bigger than any of us can imagine. Whatever we did or didn't do yesterday, we have been forgiven. The slate is clean, and today we are made anew. Please join with me in saying, we belong to God. We are held in God's love. We are made new. Amen. They're like canes. Yeah, they are. They're hiking poles. And brought my hiking pole. Oh, what's this? A backpack, okay. It's a backpack I use for hiking, and I have some stuff. Let's see, what do I have? Oh, some things that I need when I'm getting ready to go for a hike. Hiking shoes, well worn so I don't get blisters. And let's see, oh. A hat. Let's see, can you help me pull out some other things? What else do I have here? Pardon me, what? What's this? Oh, insect repellent, you never know. What's this?
Map.
It's a map. A GPS system. Good, yeah, you need to have some candy along the way. Would you like a couple? Just two? Okay. You need to have sugar just in case you start feeling weak on your hike. Here you go. And what else do I have? Did you see anything else? Oh, let's see. I have Band-Aids, yeah. Oh, you know what this is? This is so that when I'm hiking in the woods, hunters can see me so I don't get shot. It used to be for Kiko's back, but now it's my backpack cover. And, oh, what's this? It's a bracelet. What's special about it? What's that? Yeah, it's a cross. You know what? When I travel, I like to have things with me. Like I have a cross I wear along my neck, or sometimes I'll put something in my pocket to remind me when I'm getting ready to go on a trip to don't forget God. Oh, what's this? Oh, this is a handkerchief If I fall and hurt myself, I could wipe off the blood, or I could wipe my nose. I hope I don't fall and hurt myself, but that's what the Band-Aids are for. Yeah, what's this for?
Whistle?
It's a bear whistle.
Oh.
If I see a bear up in them hills, I'm blowing that whistle. Oh, and you know what? This is the coolest thing ever. I'm a little afraid of bears, by the way. This is a bear bell. So I put it on my backpack, and it either sounds like the cows are coming home, or Ann is going for a hike. And let's see, anything else? Oh, this one's important. A water bottle, yeah, you never know, you know, and sometimes I probably have other things in here that, like cheese sticks and Kleenex and things like that. You need to be prepared when you're going for a hike. And there's
Sunscreen.
pardon me?
Sunscreen.
Oh, I forgot my sunscreen, you're right. In the summertime, I would want to bring my sunscreen. Is there anything else you would bring if you were going on a hike, Jay?
Maybe
Maybe what?
a rope.
A rope? A rope, that's a really good idea, because you never know when you might need to climb a tree, or climb a mountain, or your belt breaks and you need something to hold your feet up. I mean, that would be a really good idea. So there's a poem in the Bible that was written for the people of Jerusalem, or the Israelites, the people that followed God, like 3,000 years ago. It's really, really old. And they would take 3 special hikes a year to go up to Jerusalem for the Passover, for Pentecost, and for the Festival of Weeks, when the harvest was ready. And they had some songs or some poems in the Bible that they would say to each other while they walked. And this is what this one says. It says, I look up to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He won't let your foot slip. He who watches over you, he won't get tired. In fact, he who watches over Israel, God, never sleeps. The Lord watches over you like the Lord is a shade at your right hand. The sun won't harm you during the day. The moon won't harm you at night. The Lord will keep you from every kind of harm. He will watch over your life, Jake. The Lord will watch over your life no matter where you go, both now and forevermore. The Lord's going to watch over your life now and forevermore. And you know what? It's not just Jake's life. And you don't have to be setting out on a hike for those promises and those words to be true for us. Because the Lord is our helper. The one who made everything is the one that we call on every day of our lives. He will watch our coming out and our going in from this day forward and forevermore. You know what? I forgot to get the offering plate. Do you have an offering? That's convenient.
I forgot it.
So we both forgot. Okay, we'll get you next time. Let's pray. Dear God, thank you so much that you promised to be with us, to watch over us, to protect us, and to guide us on our lives every single day. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks for helping me today.
You did a good job.
And while I put all my gear away, the fire went up.
It's us already? Yes.
scripture this morning is Psalm 121, familiar and much loved psalm. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. He who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time on and forevermore.
I feel like clapping, since we haven't seen Meg for a while, and I'm so glad you're here, and you can walk, and have an ankle that works again. We're glad you're here. Thank you, Meg. So I just want to ask you right now, just to take a minute and think about this. And if you're brave enough, you can answer. If not, we'll move on with the sermon. But I wonder what the threats are that you are facing right now in your life. What are the threats that you face? And what are some of the threats that your loved ones are facing? Just think about it for a minute. Is there anybody that didn't have a threat come to mind? Anybody willing to call out some of the threats? It's okay if you don't. If we've learned anything in the last 3 years, I'll tell you what, we have been taught that life is full of dangers. The physical, disease, abuse, aging, accidents, addictions, mental illness, death. The economic, inflation, recession, depression, they just seem to go on and on, all those words. Unemployment, and lack of staffing and lack of help when you're trying to get service. The spiritual, doubt, sin, evil, corruption, fundamentalism, extremism, false teaching, just to name a few. Psalms 120 to 134 are called Psalms of Ascent. They're grouped together for use as one prepares for and then takes a journey or a pilgrimage. In particular, as I told Jake, the 3 annual pilgrimages when devout Jews would travel up or ascend to Jerusalem. Just like you can't get to Harrisonburg without going up, you can't get to Jerusalem from anywhere else, or to Jerusalem from anywhere else in the nation without also going up. For example, if you happen to be in Jericho, Jericho is along the Jordan River. It has an altitude of 850 feet. You travel to Jerusalem, an altitude of 2,500 feet, meaning that as you make that hike, you are ascending 1,800 feet. That is quite the stress on your cardiovascular system, unless you are in really, really good shape. In light traffic, I checked this yesterday, in light traffic yesterday in Jerusalem and in the Middle East, you could make the trip, the 20-mile trip from Jericho to Jerusalem in about 40 minutes. But if you happen to be a human being walking on foot with a family, babies, children, elderly people, traveling up to Jerusalem, and Jericho was one of the closer places, it would take days, several days. And biblical times, as well as in a large part today, it's largely a wilderness area. Some of it is arid, and it's kind of place, like desert place, where the sun will smite you by day if you don't have proper covering all over your body and lots of water with you. The nights can be surprisingly cold because of the dryness and the change in altitude. There are mountains, cliffs, wild animals, marauders. Think the Good Samaritan. This is where this story came from, in this road from Jericho to Jerusalem. And it was enemy territory. I was there 12 years ago on a Sunday morning in October, and the other women with me on pilgrimage walked about 30 minutes into that wilderness for worship and communion. We looked literally like Bedouins. We have a picture of it that shows up every once in a while on our TV of me covered head to foot, wrapped in all kinds of scarves and garments, water bottle in hand. I can't imagine having made that trip. I mean, that was 30 minutes of walking, maybe not even a half a mile. I can't imagine doing that with a little kid, or at my age now. Well, no, I could still do it. At least I'd go for it. I would try. But it's quite something. And we can understand, or we should understand, that Jesus would have recited the words of this psalm as a boy when he was traveling with his parents up to Jerusalem 3 times a year. And I wonder how many times he, like our sons, would have asked, "Are we almost there yet?" Even if we had only gone a quarter of a mile. Or saying, "Mommy, I'm thirsty." Or, "I need to use the bathroom." Or, "I'm hungry." And during Jesus' final journey to Jerusalem, he and his disciples would also have been using Psalm 121 as a call and response to encourage each other along the way. Life is a sacred journey. At least I've come to understand that it is a sacred journey in terms of our travels throughout this lifetime, from this life into life eternal. Or if we don't look at it as a sacred journey, it is a simple accumulation of days and years, good and bad, that slip past without being aware of the divine presence of God in our lives. Psalm 121 provides some reminders about how we can remember and live into and trust the sacredness of our journeys and God's protection. Not too many months ago, Rod and I prepared to walk the part of the Camino de Santiago. I was full of anticipation and I was full of anxiety. As good a shape as I am in, I wondered, was I in good enough shape? Had I packed enough blister bandages? Just barely. What about water and sunscreen? How would we deal with meals, with sleeping arrangements, with getting along with fellow pilgrims? How would we get along if we got lost or hurt or sick? And then, on the morning that we arrived at our starting point, we looked up, backpacks in place, poles in hands, to see the first mile post pointing the way. And as we looked up, back straight, heads up, ready to hike, we were on our way, step by step. The psalmist begins with these words, "I will lift up my eyes to the hills." It's amazing what a difference it makes when you look up. I notice when I am feeling sick or depressed, I walk around bent over. And if I simply remind myself, stand up, head up, shoulders back, I immediately feel a little better within me. My mom was right. Posture matters. Stand up straight, young lady and young men. There's a question here in this psalm. Who will be there to help me? Will I be going this trip alone, or will I go it with God? The psalmist starts with that question, from where does my help come? It's a good question. Maybe it's the most important question we can ask on a sacred journey. As pilgrims on the Camino, we were introduced to our guides, and we were assured that they would be looking out for us, providing help as needed. And every morning and every evening, we had a little bit of a come to God moment when we sat with the guides and they told us about what we should expect the next day, where we needed to pay attention, what signs we needed to pay attention to. And oftentimes we had way more questions than they could answer, but nonetheless, they patiently fielded every single one of our questions. Sometimes when somebody hadn't heard the question the first or the second or the third time and could ask yet again. It's interesting that the psalmist doesn't contend the doubt or the fear